Is this working? Hello. Oh wait, I need to get a little closer to the mic, I think. Yeah, yeah. Hello. Procrastinating. Oh my goodness. I'm doing good. Oh, is there? I have monitor mode on now, so I can kind of hear myself talk, but it's like there's no delay. And it's like it sounds like okay. I can. Different mic. This is the same mic. I'm just getting making sure the gain is a little bit lower and I'm closer to it. How does it sound though to you guys? What is this? It's Godot. It sounds like I'm muffled. That's strange. Should I turn the gain up a little bit? Okay, how does this sound, guys? This should be a little bit better. Yeah. Unless there's something wrong with the mic, but I don't think there's anything wrong with the mic, right? It's a bit fuzzy, but not in a bad way. What does that mean? Do I need to get closer? Hello? Sounds like that because you're right on the mic. Well, we're gonna go with this for today, and I'll see how you guys feel about it, okay? Okay. It looks like the iPhone can see me through the mic as well, so that's kind of nice, as long as it sees my mouth. Oh. What am I deving? You guys will see. Senro, I sent Senro this. I sent Senro this like a million years ago, so I'm gonna need to look through. I'm gonna need to look through. Oh no, you can hear my keyboard. Oh no. Okay, if you guys can hear my keyboard, that means I can hear my keyboard. Okay. That's a little better. Oh gosh, my room is so hot. One moment. Can I not hear my? Can I not hear my keyboard? I can hear my keyboard, but I can like hear it like extra through the mic. So I've turned on the mic monitoring mode so I can like figure out the best how do you say mic etiquette. So hopefully, since I can hear like how loud I am, you guys, you'll have like a more consistent experience if that makes any sense. Is that Godot? Yes, it is. Sen. Oh, where's that thing I showed you a bit ago? Sen. Godot. No, YouTube. Oh my god. Maybe I can look through my YouTube history. Godot.
I love looking at pixel art, and I love making pixel art. It's great, but do you know what would be even greater? 3D pixel art. We have seen the effect in games like A Short Hike, which by the way is the game that got me into development in the first place. But how exactly is it done in Godot, and how can we take some of the core concepts of what makes pixel art and apply them as well? Okay, so first up is the most obvious, pixelation.
Godot is a neat engine, yeah.
Godot has a really easy to use built-in option for this. First up, head to Project Settings, and then under the display, and then Window Settings, you'll notice two sets of boxes. One for the width and height that the engine will render, and the other one called Test Width and Height.
Oh, they make cassette beasts in Godot?
Size of our window.
I didn't know that.
We want to change the
how's the volume mixing, by the way? Is it
default window resolution, which is
I don't think the music should be overpowering my voice.
And then set our width and height as our pixel art resolution.
Or the sound.
In my case, that's 512 by 288, but it's up to you. 256 by 144 is another great option for chunkier pixels. We also need to head down to the stretch options and set the mode to viewport.
Wait, what? Did I miss? Shoot.
An aspect to keep to prevent our pixels being 100, which will be one for the display. Yes. First up, head.
Let's make a cube. Look, guys, we have a 3D scene. Shoot. Now what? Maybe I need to go to basics. I barely even touched Godot, so I have no clue how this works. I only know Unity. I'm at a scene now, guys. Core 1 Unity? Because you have to learn Unity to like do anything with VR chat. How do you do anything in Godot? Oh, look. Is there a box? Can I put a box in here somewhere? Oh my god. Cube? Shit. No cubes. Box shape? Oh, box shape. Guys. I've been meaning to look into Godot, but I keep getting distracted. I mean, that's why I'm doing this stream. Cube. Okay, come on. Okay, what? How do I? How do I? I need to make a 3D scene, I think, right? Default scene. Oh look guys, it's a scene. Can I put the cube in the I can't put the cube in the scene. Look, it's the main scene, guys. Oh shit. Oh, it didn't work. Oh my god, there's a shader editor. There's a shader editor. Pull up a tutorial. It's fine. Come on. We got this. We got this. Look, Fine, I give up. Godot, how to put box in scene.
Welcome to this engaging crash course.
For download at the M2 screen.
So next up, we're going to just add to this node. What we're going to add is we're going to add buttons. So that will be under the control section. If we go to a canvas item, you'll see that we have 2 button. So let's create this, let's add it, and
What? Why did you do that? Wow. Oh, thank you, Gomo. Oh. Cute. Box.
Easy to learn. Union Air. Scrolling down lastly on example into pro, looking left or stepping left and stepping right. It's called strafing, but it's called panning in Godot. You can also hold shift, those number keys, but our Godot game, if you want objects to bump into each other, you'll probably need a collision shape. If you want to have three-dimensional objects that behave according to physics, well, there are what are called physics bodies, kinematic bodies, bones, rigid bodies, static bodies. If you want to bring a 3D model in from a 3D modeling program like Blender, you'll need to add what's called a mesh instance, and that's under visual instance 3D object that has nothing in it, but it's required. We can move it around, we can rotate it, and if I use one of these top tools, I could probably even scale it, but you know what? You actually do not want to do that for this spatial node, so I'm going to press Ctrl Z a few times on my keyboard until it goes back to the middle. We're just going to leave it put. Now this spatial node is going to be the root node of our scene, so I'm actually going to name it right away. I'm going to call it level. So I'm going to double click on its name, and I'm going to type in Level with a capital L at the beginning. And everything that we add to our game, all the main objects, are going to be children. In other words, subcategories or underneath and indented below this main level root node. The first object I'm actually going to add to my game is a three-dimensional box, in other words, a cube. And this isn't going to just be a cube that sits there static in space. It's going to be a cube that actually behaves in the way that a box would behave if it was in an environment with gravity. So we're going to add a physics object to our game. Now when you add objects into a 3D game, they're not just going to be made up usually of one node. If you think about a 3D object like a box, it has to have a 3D mesh object, in other words polygons that you can see, but the collision tree, you can just collision object and then physics body and then a rigid body, and that even has a few, or at least one subcategory called vehicle body. But if you don't want to find and navigate this tree, you can just type in the search bar rigid, and it'll narrow down your search. Now I need you to know that the blue icons here are all 2D versions of the same nodes. We're not going to be using those until later in this series, so we're going to select rigid body, the one with a little pinky red icon, and double click on it just like that. Now when we added it to our scene, we actually can't see it because it has nothing to see, but it did become a child of our level. It's a child, and I know that because it has this line and it's indented. It's more farther away from the left hand side of this panel as opposed to level, and if I collapse my level, it hides all of its children. So that's the way that it should look. It's just called collision shape right there. If you don't want to find it in this is called a tree, and branches of that tree. This box will be its own branch with its own children. So I'm going to press this little plus with box selected, and I'm going to search for, and again, if you don't want to search and you want to find things yourself, I'm going to search for spatial, and I will need a collision object, and actually it's not under there, it's just called collision shape right there. If you don't want to find it in this tree, you can just type collision, and that will help you find it. Collision shape is right there. I'm going to double click on it to add it, and it added it as a child of the box rigid body object. Now if you didn't do it right, and if you had your level selected when you added the collision shape, well, it might look something like this, both of these are now even. They're both direct children of your level, and that's not right, and you get errors on both of them. If you want to refix the parenting here, I'm going to drag the icon of this collision shape onto the box, and that will make it a child of box. And now you can see it's indented more from the left side of the screen, and the box will collapse the collision shape into it when we collapse it like that. So that's great. This box now has a collision shape. And so next other, and I'm going to delete my search so we can find it ourselves under node and spatial and visual instance. There's a section called geometry instance, and here if I expand that out we can find mesh instance. Don't get confused if we open that up. There's soft body, and there's also one called CGI mesh somewhere. If I just search for mesh, you can see that there's one called, pardon me, CSG mesh. We're not going to use that one. The one that we want is called mesh instance. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on mesh instance to add it into my scene. And if you did it right, this mesh instance will be a child of the box. The box will have both a collision shape and its own mesh. Now the mesh, we can't actually see it because it doesn't know what mesh object, what polygons to actually use. Empty. But for the mesh, select mesh, and as you can
oh shit. How do you do that? Oh my god, new box mesh. Oh my god, guys. We did it, guys. We made a box. We did it. It's a box. It's a box. It's a box. Okay. Now what?
Cube mesh, cylinder mesh, plane mesh, sphere mesh. We're going to add a new cube mesh. And as you can see, it adds a cube into this little mesh area right here. We can see it, but we can also see it in our 3D viewport. And if I orbit around, yeah, it's a full cube, and we are good to the extent actually see it hit the box. So it's important to do this. This little pin to adjust.
Wait, what? Why is there shape? What? What did he make? Did he make it into a box at some point?
It's actually not as scary as it sounds. Dock panel on the right side of the screen. I'm going to press OK, and I'm going to select my collision shape and look over here on the right side of my screen at the inspector dock panel mesh. And as you can see, okay, so now we have some objects, or at least one object, using multiple nodes in our scene. So I'm going to go ahead and try to see if I can run this scene and play my actual game, or at least see our game scene.
Oh, but he doesn't have camera yet, right?
So I'm going to go up to the top right of my top bar in the editor, and I'm not going to press this play button because that will play my entire game, and that actually requires that I tell my game project what the first scene in my game is. And typically your first scene in your game is a loading screen or your title menu of your game. We don't have those yet, so I'm not going to press this play button. Instead, I'm just going to press the play scene button, which is this one, which will play the scene that I have open right now. So play scene, and it tells me this scene has never been saved. Save before running, yes. So I'm going to do that. Yes, save. And it saves it into my project folder called res in the editor, and it will give it a name of level.tscn. A tscn file is a Godot scene, and a camera. A 3D scene needs a camera in it.
Yeah.
So
I shouldn't skip ahead, but Oh shit. Oh my god, the camera is... Oh my god, the camera. Look at the camera, guys. Oh shit. Was there no way to like preview the camera like there is in Unity? Oh, the box. It just fell, guys. Boom.
Let's close that game preview window and add a camera to our level. In order to add a camera, we have to make sure we add it to our main level, which is called level. We can't add a camera as a child of the box. Well, we could, but we don't want to. So I'm going to select level, and I'm going to press plus, and I'm going to delete my search. You'll notice also that if you have
Oh shit.
access to point it down, there are also in Godot individual move, rotate, and scale gizmo tools, and you can get to those. And let's see what it looks like. Scene. Our cube is there, we can see it, and it's falling down. That's great. Let's go ahead and add one more object, and then we'll play pulling it back some, and I can more rigid body to our scene. Again, it should be a child gizmo controller, it looks like, and back axis, a little bit different.
Where should we put this? Let's just put it over. Whoa. Whoa. Oh my god, look at that. Bye-bye box. There's no lighting. His has lighting.
Different, but it's not anything you need to worry about. Just know that
That's
Y
fine,
is up
right,
and down.
guys?
If I pull this
Is that
camera
fine?
back, and then I go with the camera selected, I can actually preview the camera. That's what we have right now. Maybe
Oh my god. Oh shit.
I'll unpreview it by unchecking that box, pulling it back some more, and then I might pull it up. Our box falls because it's actually a rigid body, which is a physics body. I'll do that again. I'll close that and press play scene. Our cube is there, we can see it, and it's falling down. That's great. Let's go ahead and add one more object, and then we'll play around with this physics scene. We're going to add a floor. And so what I'm going to do is actually select my entire box by clicking on it over here. And I'm going to use my move tool, and I'm going to move the box up. It's important that you don't move things individually, components, like the collision shape. If you move it up, well, that means that it's going to collide. Well, it's going to be under collision object, and it means not moving. So I'm going to select static body and double click, and it added it to my scene, and it's a child directly of our level. It's giving me an error. Let's see what that is. It says this node has no shape, so it can't collide or interact with other objects. Consider adding a collision shape or collision polygon as a child to define its shape. We've seen this before. It needs a collision shape to know where its bounds are, where its force fields are that it'll hit other objects at. So I'm going to select this static body. I'll name it, double click to name it floor. And with it selected, I'm going to press plus. I'm going to add a collision shape, the same thing that we've already added to the our box, the rigid body. And so if I double click on collision shape, it'll add it as a child of my floor. And it has a problem. Its little error says that it doesn't know what shape it's supposed to be. And that's over again, and hopefully you're seeing this pattern here. That's again, I have to select it and then look at its inspector, its properties, and I'm going to give it a shape. I'm going to make my floor, I'm going to make it another box actually. So I'm going to change it right there, and it looks like that. Now I'm going to change its extents in a moment after I add its mesh. You might be tempted to use not a box, to use a plane instead, but actually if you add a plane, it might give you a message. Yes, it is. It's giving me a little error over here saying plane shapes don't work well and will be removed in future versions of Godot. Please don't use them. So they're being deprecated. They don't want you to use them anymore because they don't work well. So we're not going to use plane shapes. We're we're going to use a box shape. Okay, our floor also needs a mesh so we can see it. So I'm going to add another cube. I'll select my floor. We can press the plus to add a mesh instance, which we have in our recently used node. So I'll just add it that way, or search for mesh and mesh instance, not CGS mesh, that one we don't want to use. And this mesh instance doesn't know what mesh or what polygons to use. So I'm going to select with it selected in the scene dock. I'm going to select its mesh in the inspector. We're going to use a cube. Now, if you have a cube mesh or any mesh and you click on its little icon, it will expand out the properties of that mesh, and this is where you can change its size. So I'm going to keep its size. Remember that Y is up and down. We're going to leave it at 2 in dimension up and down. I don't mind having a thick floor, but I will need to change its size on the X and Y axes. So I'm going to change it. I can actually click in there and type. Let's say I want to be 30. So I'll press enter, and that's going to be the size of my floor on the X axis. I'm going to leave Y, its height, at 2, and I'm going to change its Z to 30 as well. So we've got a nice big floor to work with. This will not work yet until I change my collision bounds. So I'm going to go back over to my floor and select its collision shape, that first node that we added to it. And you can see that if I zoom in, it might be quite hard to see. So I'm going to hide my mesh for a moment on the X and Y axes. So I'm going to change it. I can actually click, and we're going to use a cube. Now, if you have a cube mesh or any mesh and you click on its little icon, it will expand out the properties of that mesh, and this is where you can change its size. So I'm going to keep its size. Remember that Y is up and down. We're going to leave it at 2 in dimension up and down. I don't mind having a thick floor, but I will need to change its size on the X and Y axes. So I'm going to change it. I can actually click in there and type. Let's say I want to be 30. So I'll press enter, and that's going to be the size of my floor on the X axis. I'm going to leave Y, its height, at 2, and I'm going to change its Z to 30 as well. So we've got a nice big floor to work with. This will not work yet until I change my collision bounds. So I'm going to go back over to my floor and select its collision shape, that first node that we added to it. And you can see that if I zoom in, it might be quite hard to see. So I'm going to hide my mesh for a moment so you can see it. The force field where this static body will know to hit other things is really small. It needs to be bigger side to side and front and back. So I can drag these manually. I can also, if I show my, actually I won't quite show my mesh again. If I have my collision shape node selected over here, I can go into its box shape in the inspector, and I can expand it out just by clicking on its name, and I can type in the values that I want.
That's very strange.
Now,
isn't it?
extent values are a little bit different than overall dimension or size values. Our size of our floor is 30 by 30.
Oh, in 4.0, it's only visible in the editor. Okay, so I've got to add my own light source. Global light? Directional light. There we go. Look, we've got it light now. So apparently the in Godot 4 it doesn't the global light only shows up in the editor before you add this directional light here. I guess that's, I guess it makes it like more like a everything is default kind of thing, right?
by 2, but the extents of a collision shape, I'm going to hide the mesh again, are away from its middle. So if you want to have it have an overall height of 2, then the y-axis extents should be 1, because it's 1 from the middle up. Now you can see that it's exactly the same size. Hold the control key or the command that this scene is not saved. Yeah, it's saved, and we can see our box fall and it hits the floor. The reason why everything is a little bit blue is because the sky, the environment in our scene is blue, and we'll talk about how to change that in a future video. Let's do one more fun thing before the end of this video. Let's rotate this cube and see how it tumbles, and let's add more duplicate cubes. So I'm going to select my box, and I'm going to use the rotate tool. And in fact, I'll just use the selection tool. That's the Q key on my keyboard. And I'm going to rotate it in a funny way so that hopefully a corner hits the ground. And let's try playing this scene. And as you can see, it tumbles like a normal cube would. And if I go into my scene panel, I can right click on my box and I can say duplicate. .1, that's what we're using. If I go ahead and double click on it, it'll of course launch the project manager. New scenes, they can be reused because my character might appear in more than one level. If I make an enemy a bad guy, he might appear in more than one level. A collectible, again, you want to reuse it. So you don't just want to have it based in the tree of nodes in one scene. You want to have them separate. So we have a new scene. I just press this plus button. We got a new scene. I'm not going to add a default or one of these options. I'm going to press the kinematic body, and it gives us an error. So I'm going to click on that little blue, or not blue, yellow triangle and see what it says. It says a shape must be provided for a collision shape to function. Please create a shape resource for it. So the key word here is resource. A resource is not a node. A resource is information in the form of a block of information that Godot has built into it that you can tell that node what to look like, or give it a resource like a mesh or a shape that Godot knows about and has built in. So I'm going to select this collision shape, and I'm going to go over to my inspector on the right hand side, and with the collision shape selected, it shows me that its shape is empty. So I'm going to select a primitive 3D shape to give it as a collision bounce. Now our character is a sphere, it's a ball, but its collision shape, and this might seem weird, it's going to be a box. And the reason for that is because a box sits flat on the ground. A box will also hit things evenly, like walls flat. If you have a round sphere shape and you push really hard against it, against a wall that's not much taller than about halfway up the ball might actually roll over the wall. So I have actually found that when I've been testing this project. So we're going to use a box collision shape, but in that box, or as another child of our kinematic body, we're going to add a mesh, and it's going to be a sphere. So I'm going to select my kinematic body again and press plus. I'm going to search for mesh, and we don't want to select mesh or CSG mesh. We want to select mesh instance, and it's a parent of something else, but that's okay. We can still add it. So we'll double click on mesh instance, and so now it gets added again as a child of kinematic body. And if I select mesh instance, it needs to know what polygons or what actual mesh with vertices and edges to use. And again, that's over in its properties in the inspector. Its mesh is empty right now. We're gonna click on the little arrow next to it and select a new sphere mesh. That's a primitive mesh that Godot has built in that you can use at any point. So now we've got a ball mesh inside of a force field, essentially. The default dimensions of any shape basically in Godot, boxes and spheres, is 2 of these grid floor units by 2 by 2. So if I were to go into my little view menu and say orthogonal to make it more flat, and then if I were to go to my let's say my front view, you would see that the edges of the circle just graze the edge of the bounding box, the collision shape. If I select the collision shape, I can see those extent little pink circle handles that I could grab, but that means that my ball wouldn't hit things accurately. So I'm going to press Ctrl Z a few times to undo that, and my kinematic body is ready to save as a scene. Before I do that though, I'm going to double click on its name, and I'm going to give it a better name than kinematic body. My character's name is going to be Steve. So I just double clicked and typed and pressed enter. And I'm ready to save this scene. It says unsaved right here, but right away we want to keep organized. My project folder, this res folder in my file system doc, shows me an organization of files, and you're going to start getting a whole bunch of these .tscn scene files. We're also going to be bringing in image textures and normal maps and diffuse maps and maybe SVG files and all sorts of things, and nothing is worse than having a disorganized project folder. If I were to minimize Godot and look at my project folder on my computer, I want to create folders here, but we can actually do that in Godot for different categories. So I'm not going to do it in my Windows File Explorer. I'll do it right here. Now, if I right click in this area, it doesn't do anything. And that's how you think that you would make a new folder, just by right clicking and saying new folder. That does not work. What you have to do is actually right click on any of your existing files, or in fact, this word res here, our actual project folder. If I right click right on it, which is a little bit weird, I can say new folder, and I'm going to name this folder assets. Okay, these are going to be where all of the scene objects, or the objects that are scenes for my project, are going to go. So I'll press OK. We've got a new folder called assets. I'm going to go into there, or just have that selected, and when I go to scene and save scene, it's going to ask me where to save it, and so I'm going to go into my assets folder. I'm going to give this scene a name, and it just gives it the name of the root node, one up the close window X button. So to add programming in Godot, you have to add what's called a script file, which is a file that ends in .gd onto a node in your game's scene window, in your node tree. So I'm going to select Steve, and I'm going to press this little script button with a green plus. When I do that, it's going to pop up a new window, but it's also going to get a new icon next to it. Right now we can hide any node in our game. This little icon means that this Steve object is actually a different scene. Same little icon at a script file ball character. To get a new icon next to it. Right now we can hide. I'm going to select Steve, and I'm going to press this little script button with a green plus. When I do that, it's going to pop up a new window, but it's also going to get a new icon next to it. Right now we can hide any node in our game. This little icon means that this Steve object is actually a different scene. Same little icon, similar, that we have up here. It means a scene, and if I click on it, I can actually open up and see and edit that original Steve scene, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to select Steve and press this little script new button, and we get this attached node script pop up where it lets us select some options for the code that we're about to add, including what language we're going to use. We're going to use GD script. There are more options, and if you use the mono version of Godot, in other words, when you went to godotengine.org and you went to the downloads page and you selected the mono version, this version allows you to program in C#. It does require a separate download. It requires you to download Microsoft Visual Studio, or at least the Visual Studio build tools, which is quite a big download, so I'm not going to deal with that in this mini series. So I'm just going to leave that as GD script. We're going to leave this character as inheriting the code that's accessible to a kinematic body. That's kind of what that means. We'll get into it later. Template. By default, it says default. I would like you to change this to no comments. That's the best way, because most people just get rid of the comments that comes with the default code setup anyways. If you don't know what that means, that's okay. And last but not least, it's going to put this code file into your assets folder, and I do not want that. So I'm actually going to press the program, and this is a very easy concept to or script what's happening here. The second thing that you need to know about now, you can use these functions that are actually built into the GDScript language. There are many functions. They're often called methods that are built into Godot, but you can also write your own functions, and you can actually see one on the screen right now. On line 3 and line 4, you have this thing called func ready, and right below that you have the word pass. Now, something that I want you to recognize right away is the fact that this word pass is indented. It has a tab here. If I select that and press the delete or backspace key on my keyboard, it's lined up, and if I press the tab key on my keyboard, it's indented, and the GDScript code editor gives it this little icon that means tab. That's what that little icon means, and that's very important. This func ready pass is a little program that a kinematic body object like Steve knows to run or call as soon as the game loads and as soon as Steve is ready to do anything in the game. In other words, when Steve is ready for the game. So this ready function is built into a kinematic body, and GDScript knows about it. I've just to see what happens as best as are necessary. If I made my default player, it's added those 2 dimensions. We need a condition is called a vector 3, and that will look something like this: 3, 2, I don't know, 6. Language like action just released. So if they, and so whenever you're writing these if statements, you have to be very precise about it. Programming is really called a Boolean expression.
Oh my god.
It's a key. I'm going to put 2 tabs here. How do we move our keys? The right arrow does work. Put dot down here. Function that moves itself. And that function is called move and slide. So instead of printing this out, I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to press backspace one more time, like velocity. I'm going to go down, control, I can go arrow key down, and then we might be undoing what we just did if we're also pressing the left arrow key.
How do we change the map?
So right now, if I'm pressing the right arrow key, it'll make our x velocity equal to 5. But then if I'm pressing the left arrow key at the same time, well, that's going to overwrite the velocity.x with -5, and therefore if I hold both keys down, left and right at the same time, it's going to make me move left. That's not ideal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to consider left and right, in other words our x-axis movement and our z-axis movement up and down, 2 separate blocks, and I'm going to use what's called an else-if statement instead of the second if. Now in GDScript, unlike some other languages like C# or Java, in those languages you might type else space if. In GDScript, they know coders are lazy, so you just use elif. Okay, yeah. Elif stands for else if. So I'm going to make both of the second if statements in each pair.
What is Godot script based off of? It looks kind of like Python. Also kind of looks like. Oh, I was right, based on Python. Okay. Or well, independent from Python. Inspired by Python. Similar to Python. Scene based instead of object oriented.
An elif, because it's first to see. So I'm going to say if input dot is left arrow key is pressed, then to save, and what in sequence.
Okay, I don't need to see your programming.
That will be it for this. Where I post.
Okay. Importing from Blender.
In the game, you collect coins to be notified whenever I upload see all the edges and vertices and faces, and you can also see, because I have it all selected.
I don't want to be importing stuff right now. What do I want to do? I don't remember. I haven't figured out, like, I haven't, like, how do I get out of script view? Ah, right here. Toy Story ball. Woo. If I do this, does this, like, does this make the camera follow? Oh, it does. Wow. Oh, look at that, guys. Oh, we did it. We've made a game. We've done it. It's flawless. Okay, I wanted to, can I make things different colors? At least? Oh, materials. This is core build? What does that even mean? Material. That's... I made a folder, I guess. Standard material 3D. Shader. New shader. That's a G shade. Oh. Shader editor. Oh. Wait. Are there any default shaders? I guess this is the default shader, but I can't just change the color of the material easily. Oh, here we go. It's an albedo. Hey, look at that. Well, what do we want to make? What color we want to make the ground, guys? Green, right? Let's make it green. Boxes. Let's make the boxes. Let's make the boxes pink. Oh wait, what? What just happened? I didn't duplicate it, I guess. Wait, I did. Oh, when you make a duplicate, it doesn't like. You. Hmm? Oh no, I'm dumb. I'm dumb. I'm dumb. I'm dumb. I'm dumb. I didn't double click it out. I didn't select it after. We can make the player. Oh shoot. I'm used to like in Unity when you select something it brings it up. Look, we have a candy world. Wow. Wow. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Alright, now let's look at our pixel art shaders. This is the reason why I've done this.
To project settings, and then under the display and then window settings, you'll notice two sets of boxes.
Holy crap, can I get more pixels? There.
And height that the engine will render, and the other one called test width and height, which will be the size of our window. We want to change the test resolution to our default window resolution, which is 1024 by 600, and then set our width and height as our pixel art resolution. In my case, that's 512 by 288, but it's up to you. 256 by 144 is another great option for chunkier pixels. We also need to head down to the stretch options and set the mode to viewport and aspect to keep to prevent our pixels being stretched when the window is moved around. Awesome, so now when we run our scene, we get some nice chunky pixels. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and oh, what? You're saying that pixel art is more than just down-resing a 3D render? Are you gatekeeping art? Honestly, disgraceful, but no problem. To many, pixel art is more than just a chunky pixels on the screen. Colour is just as important. The vast majority of pixel art is done using a limited colour palette, so we too will need to achieve that as well. To start off, I will change all my materials to use Godot's built-in toon shader. This will mean objects will mostly only have two sets of colours. The lit colours and the shaded colours, which will help when we are limiting the colours drawn to the screen. To do this, just go to the properties of each material and under diffuse and specular mode, swap them for toon, then set the roughness to 0 and metallic to 0.5. I have no idea how these shaders work, but my friend Nikoto has a great tutorial. To 0.
Flag is vertex color parameters. What? Where's that? Oh my god. What am I working on? I'm working on a game that I want to do. That's still pretty not.
And metallic to 0.5. I have no idea how these shaders work, but my friend Nikoto has a great tutorial on the toon shader in the 0 and metallic to 0.5. Under diffuse and specular mode, swap them for toon, Then set the roughness to 0 and metallic to 0.5. I have no idea how these shaders work, but my friend Nikoto has a great tutorial on the Toon shader in the style of Breath of the Wild, which I highly recommend you check out.
0.
As well as this, just to let you know, I'm using an orthogonal camera projection. This just means that things further away from the camera will not appear smaller. It's quite a common way for pixel art to be drawn. Also, I just think it looks nice with this top-down projection. Okay, so now that's done, we can work on our palette limiting shader. To be clear, I didn't make this either. It's taken straight from the Buff Ed's video, linked in the description. But essentially we have a list of colours with each number in the vector 4 representing the red, green and blue values, but on a scale of 0 to 1 instead of 0 to 256. And then the last value is just the alpha, which I've just got set to the colour of the pixel, and they explain it better than red, green doing something than 6 failing what the sprite actually is, and just make sure it's the top node of our tree. Overall, this is a really nice effect. It's important to note that what the sprite actually... Now we can just add this shader to a sprite 2D that covers the whole viewport. It doesn't matter what the sprite actually is, and just make sure it's the top node of our tree. Overall... This is a really nice effect. It's important to note that changing anything about the environment lights can change the look of the game significantly. I recommend having a single directional light for shadows and setting the ambient light in the environment to have 0 sky contribution and a plain white colour. I really like how you can only see the grass around the edges of things. It looks very pixel arty. But I think adding some shadows of some clouds where you can properly see them, they luckily shifted. It moves them both. Texture, won't need to render them clouds themselves. And
what's my current goal? I haven't decided right now. It's really bad. I'm trying to figure out right now. I just wanted to...
With no effects applied, it's just a simple scene with a few boxes, a CSG pillar mesh that I quickly set up, and some grass swaying just to give you a quick demonstration of what it will look like with the effects applied. So let's get on with our first method. The first and easiest method is to just edit the viewport and window resolutions in the project settings, so that the game will be rendered in a low resolution but stretched into a bigger window. Start by going to the project settings and then finding window under display. What we want to do here is we want to set the window width and height to be that of your target end resolution, and then you want to change the viewport width and height to be a low resolution to create the pixelated effect. Here I'm just going to divide the resolution by 4 to make the pixels nice and chunky. One thing to...
Oh, that does sound nice. I want...
to make the pixels nice and chunky.
Wait, did he put in... Wait, did he put in math operators in the input? The fuck? I didn't know you could do that. Huh. Wild. Interesting. Is this like a default scene that everybody has or something? I feel
One
like
thing
I've
to
seen these
keep in
pillars a
mind
lot.
is that you have to make sure stretch is set to viewport down at the bottom of the settings and aspect ratio is set to keep. Otherwise it won't look right. So with that you get the effect of... I find that this method creates the nicest quality pixelation, but it has a downside of everything getting pixelated with no control. For example, if you have any text or your UI elements, if you want them to be unpixelated, you're out of luck. It's gonna look pixelated regardless, as you
Yeah.
can see here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For this method, you're going to start by adding in a sprite 2D node to the scene. Give it a texture. I always just drop in the Godot icon as you do, and then stretch it out to
Yeah, I
make
should
sure
get
it
an
covers
S.
the
Maybe I
entirety
should
of
get
the
an S
viewport,
pack. You're
as
right.
denoted by the blue box on the screen. Once you've done that, expand the material drop down, add in a new shader material, and within there you're going to want to add a new shader. Make sure it's of type visual shader
free
and
assets,
the mode is set to
yeah.
Camsium, and then give it a good name.
There, I don't know.
hit
I was
create.
I found this like really nice pixel art shader. It looked like it whatchamacallit, made the pixel art like consistent. So if the camera moved around, it didn't. You see how like these boxes, it like the jaggies like go everywhere. I think part of that is helped with orthogonal. It's so small. Look at him go. You can kind of see how it looks like these two weird stuff there on the edges.
Once you've done that, make sure. Just to help, I add in a range step hint. That straight into the color channel. You'll see we get, but any UI nodes we place below the shaded sprite 2D in the scene hierarchy will be unaffected by the pixelization, allowing for a clean UI.
Oh yeah, you can put stuff above the shader.
The final method I'll be showcasing is exactly the same as before, but instead of using a visual shader, we're just going to write the code ourselves. So I've got two examples just to create documentation.
Neither of these are the
You can have
videos
a
I
lot
was
of
looking
control
for.
over how much maybe around there. Most of this video has been shot in orthographic view. If you want to try and have a low resolution FPS style PSX effect, you could always just change the camera to perspective and get this effect instead. And that's that for this video.
Yeah, neither of these are the videos I was looking for. Neither of these are the videos I was looking for. Damn, where is it? Oh, pixel art. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Godot asset packs. I'm sorry if this stream is interesting, guys. Mementos? What game is that? Oh, we could do something. We could do something with this, right? Persona 5. Ah. We could do something with these guys, right? Nice clean art to practice the shader on, yeah. I like how these like kind of are meant to go together as well. Maybe we'll do a game jam sometime, guys. What do you you guys want to do game jam? This sounds like fun, right? Oh yeah, this looks like ideal for the shader to mess with. Okay, one moment. One moment so I can download this. I have like no game development experience, guys. I just know how to use Unity for VR chat. So how do I import this? Should I just shove the folders into Godot? Oh. Why not? Let's just shove the folders into Godot. That's a lot of stuff. Is it gonna... wait, it might have issues compiling if I just shove all of it into Godot. But you know what? We can do that. FBX 2 GLTF is required. Make it fit. Stuff it in. Fill Godot. It's telling me I should use GLTF instead of FBX to GLTF. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Alright, it's importing. Enable MIP mapping. MIP map generation. Gotta have all your MIPs mapped. There's a Star Rail stream tonight. Oh, nice. Are they gonna talk about Panaconia? Penacony seems like it's gonna be a huge update. Wait, can I see my mouth like this? No, not that well, huh? Wow, 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 wow. Bunch of rocks. Oh my god, look at all these rocks, guys. Don't you love rocks? Oh my god, a bunch of vases. Holy shit. Oh, of course, we've got to... You have to have... You have to have a animation for the pots breaking. What should we choose? Let's choose the mage. But make that hero of time server as a host for breaking my priceless vases. Interesting, interesting. Okay, they have an animation though, don't they? Oh. Project's going okay. I'm just figuring some stuff out at the moment. Doppler tracking? What's Doppler tracking? Can we put like the preview into like its own view? Oh shit, we can. Look at him go. Look at him go. Look at them. They're beautiful. Perfection. Okay. box score. Why do you make this complicated? Or not. Okay. We have collider. Basic movement. Yeah, let's do that. Oops. What? Why is it so big? Oh, it's because of the camera. Okay, we have a character now. Happy Thursday. How do you find anything in here? Oh, cool. You can kind of. I like the. I don't like this file editor. This file's the file viewer. Is there like a floor tile editor? Grid maps. Tile maps, but
If
in
you want to
3D.
turn your tileable meshes into levels like this really fast, you came to the right place. I'm going to talk about everything you need to know about Godot's grid maps, which are basically 3D tile maps. So we have a pretty simple scene here to start. We just have a directional light, a world environment, and a water mesh. We have all of the meshes that we want to use in a folder, and the first thing that we need to do to use a grid map is to create a mesh library out of the meshes. Create a new scene and save it, then drag all of the mesh files into it. They are all going to be stacked on top of each other in the scene, but it doesn't matter for the mesh library because it separates them into their own tiles. Click on the scene drop down and select export mesh library. Choose a file name and click save. This gives us a mesh library resource that we can then use in a
Holy
grid map.
shit, that was fast. That was like me trying to explain how to use Borf editor. You just you're done. The fuck? Export as mesh library. Holy crap.
Map. So let's go back to the game scene and add a new grid map node. Then we can drag our mesh library into the corresponding resource and change the cell size to fit our tiles. Then we can select the tile that we want to use and we can decide where to place them on the X and Z axis by moving our mouse around, and on the Y axis by changing the floor property. We can draw tiles by left clicking and then erase them by right clicking. This is fine and all, but it's definitely not the way to fill large areas on the map. For that we can
My brain. Grid map. Oh my god. That's cool. Oh my god. I'm just thinking of Anna. Oh my god. Ignore me. that cool, guys? It's pretty cool. Can I make this view into like a window? Pretty cool floor. What the fuck? Can I turn these into windows? Photo window. Turn view into window. We're just gonna do this for now. That's a good size. Oh, I should probably separate all of these into their own library, huh? Well, we'll see what we can do for now.
You can shift drag in the editor to select an area on the current floor. Quick Ctrl F to fill it with the selected tile. You can find all of the relevant actions and their shortcuts in this dropdown. Let's run through some of the important ones using this arrow here. We can rotate the selected tile on the Y-axis by pressing S, on the X-axis by pressing A, and on the Z-axis by pressing D. One thing that's really inconvenient about using grid maps is that unfortunately you can't move around in the editor unless you deselect the grid map by pressing escape. The perspective view is also not always ideal for seeing where you're placing the tiles, so you might find it useful to change the perspective to top view in order to edit your maps faster. While making your level, you may want to edit the individual tiles. For example, I need to add collision shapes to these as well as change up some of the materials. To make it easy to work with just one mesh at a time, I turn off the visibility on the whole list and find the one I want to edit. The meshes have no 3Ds as parents in this case, so to have access to the meshes themselves, make sure to right click on the nodes and select make local. To have access to the material, you want to right click on it and click edit. After we change the material, add a static body as the child of the mesh for collisions. For a fast collision shape, you can click on the mesh again and in the mesh dropdown select create single convex collision sibling. Mesh libraries ignore all of the nodes except the mesh itself and the collision shape, so don't try to add any complex logic in here. When you're happy with the changes, export the library again, but choose a different folder because Godot doesn't like overwriting mesh libraries for some reason. When that's done, clear the original mesh library on the grid map, which will make our entire level disappear. But don't worry, once we add the new one, everything's gonna be fine. So that's Godot's grid maps. If the video was helpful, consider leaving a like, and if you'd like to learn more about making 3D games in Godot, check out my first-person character controller video or my full level.
Can I arch? Oh, what the fuck? If it's not too much info, I can give me making. I'm not really making anything particular right now. Just trying to get familiar with. Just trying to get familiar with Godot's tools. Maybe I should learn more about tile maps, because this doesn't seem right. Because filling doesn't seem to do what I want it to when they've got bigger tiles and smaller tiles. Probably need to separate stuff out. Well, let's just do this for now. How do you rotate a tile? S. static body. Add a dungeon to it. Grid map collision. Great. Try mesh static body. Transform view mesh. What? Oh, in the mesh library itself. Oh. I think. Do I need to make it? This looks cute. How old is this? 1 year ago? How do you get the mesh menu? Transform, view, mesh. I need a big, maybe I need a big tutorial.
Hey everyone! You probably already know about the tileset system in Godot for 2D games. But did you know that there is also something similar for 3D? What we need for that is the grid map node. As the name implies, grid map node at a so-called mesh is for all my models that I want to use in my mesh lib. All models have the same x and y size models. That way you will have to export them to include. By doing this, export again the scene, then select only them and go to File, Convert to Mesh Library and save that file. Now we have a mesh lib that we can add to the grid map. The original models inside the scene can be deleted at this point. We want to place on the mouse bar for the models or bar.
Alright guys, so I wanted to go ahead and make a little video today showing you how to put colliders automatically on different assets that you're using. So here I'm using some Kinney assets. I'm starting to develop a game. I was making a text adventure game, but I think it makes more sense to have it as a proper like 3D game. I think it just makes more sense. So that's what I'm doing, but I'm using Kinney assets, which are some great assets that you can find. They're completely free. They're licensed under the CC0 1.0, I believe, which is essentially just, you know, public domain. So you don't have to give it credit. You can use it in any product, or, you know, I'll show you. First things first, what you want to do is, you know, create, you know, your main scene and everything, and we'll click on here, and you want to add a child node, and you want to add a mesh instance, and so add that, and we'll just name this
Text adventure to 3D game. That's a bit of a leap.
we'll do it Riverside. We'll call it Riverside because I'm going to be adding some size to this river over here. So we've imported this OBG format, and then you'll see all of these assets here that I've got in here. And right here is the ground river side, and we're gonna open that. And so you'll see it's overlapping right here, but assets in, actually we'll go ahead and move it right now. So if you press Control, you'll be able to move your assets in the grid, like locked format. And so we'll move this over here, and then what we want to do is go into the transform and data. What you'd see is we can walk over here, and then we'll start following, and then unless you walk new to Godot.
Fucking God.
We don't are now there, so we can go ahead and click
This could have
play.
been.
And now if we walk over here, mesh, and then create tri-mesh static bot. But it's super simple to get it automatically put there. So you'll just want to click mesh and then create tri-mesh static body. Create that, and then you will see lighter on it.
The fuck? Oh my God, it's because. Can I do this with all of them automatically? Can I not do that automatically for all of these? I don't. Maybe. Maybe we'll. Can you add multiple mesh libraries to grid maps? It looks like you can't. That's probably fine though, right? I'll be right back, guys. Up, 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 up. Hey, everybody. So, just to, oops, just to get this to work, I'm gonna just make a collision floor. tier game, guys. This is the game of the year. Is the clipping too close to it, maybe? Oh, near. Oh, still not working. It's orthogonal, so it doesn't matter if it's... I can just move it as far away as I want. Perfect. Perfect, guys. But you can see how like the aliasing just looks off when stuff is moving. That's the thing I'm trying to figure out how to fix at the moment. But after I do that should be fine. Look at those big chunky pixels. Don't you love humongous chunky pixels? I also like how she goes into the ground. I want to make... How do I make her... How do I change the shader or the materials on here? shadows are still smooth. What is going on here? Why is there Z fighting? What? I don't understand how there's Z fighting going on. Let's just use the wand anyways, right? What is wrong with the wand? Alright, let's just disable culling. I don't know why. They're so shiny. Oh my god. Watermelon. Well, did those models come with any animations? Yeah, they did come with animations. Animations Look at all those animations. Wow. I just need to learn how to hook up all the animations later. Oh, we got a little something now, guys, right? Alright guys, well, that's it for today. We didn't do that much, but I needed to get myself to start to learn Godot. Alright, let's see here. Hey. Let's see. Let's find someone to raid. Bum. You'll make something great eventually. Someday, maybe. Maybe. Good night, everybody. I'm hungry. Shoot. Is they still streaming? No, they're not still streaming anymore. I downloaded I downloaded Stepper for GBA, and I was like, got it on my little Miyu Mini, making little sequences. It's been pretty cool. Maybe I'll share some of the little. Oh, sorry. It's a sequencer, I guess. It makes music. And uses like the GBA sound engine. Alright, go check out Emo Healer, guys, for my MIDI board. No, it's just for like making sounds and beeps and boops. Where is it? Here, let's cancel the raid. One moment. I just made little thingy. Isn't that cool? It's just me just a little thing. But yeah, okay, bye guys. Emo Healer is the kind of like the paladin kind of guy from the Ascension Academy. They have the gold armor, and they're one of the teachers. Oh, did the raid already go through? Oh shoot, it did. Oh well.